Okay. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into the Oz report for today, August 7th, 2021. And there's only one thing we can start with, and that is isotopes. If you've been trading at all, then you will have definitely stumbled upon the uptrending isotopes. Reason for this is that there's just a huge move up going on, obviously with Pappy forces retreating, and all those caps need fuel. And so if you're looking at the 4 types of isotopes that are needed for the different faction caps, you have helium going up like crazy, you have hydrogen going up like crazy, nitrogen not as much, but also I guess today finally breaking out there. And then you also have oxygen isotopes, probably the most extreme of all of them. They basically went from before it even broke the graph from about 1250 to now about 3000 per. So if you're holding isotopes, make sure you sell them, because they have been going up and down for the last 3 or 4 days. What you can clearly see is that people come in, buy a whole bunch, then people see that the price is high, they put a whole bunch on the market, and then the whole thing repeats. If you look at the volumes, before that your typical volume would have been around 30 million, and now it goes up to 100 million units a day of the various isotopes. So that's very interesting. Now, it doesn't help a lot if I tell you of things that are already expensive, because you can't invest in them, right? So what I want to highlight is that the other big thing that isotopes are used for are fuel blocks. So if you're looking at fuel blocks of the same type, you can see that they are already starting to go up, right? The price before this week for a typical fuel block of any type was 25,000. And now we're at 29, we're at around 27, 28, 27. So fuel blocks are definitely going to be a derivative that's going to be hurting if the isotope run keeps on going. And it has been going for 3 or 4 days, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down, especially if you're looking at oxygen isotopes. There's basically if you're selling at 27 right now, you are selling at a loss. If you're building them with fresh isotopes, then you are selling at a loss. So my tip would be fuel blocks, good investment right now, since they are made up mostly of these isotopes. One other thing that I want to highlight is freighters, and for that I'm going to switch over to my new tool real quick, and the queries that I've built. So I've built a query that queries this tool. It has basically the most traded items in the game in a database, and what this query can query is you can query for the price index, volume index, and availability index. So you can say how good is that price compared to the yearly average, or the volume that is currently traded compared to the yearly average, or the how good is the availability, so how many days of trade items are left in the market. And so if you do something like this, I also have the OBI, the building index, that checks the build cost and compares it to the current cost. And what I'm saying here in this query down here is I'm saying return everything to me that is trading at least 30, that is trading 30% higher than or lower than the build cost. So that means that if you're building this, you're actually losing money, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because the freighters right now are all trading between 35 and 38% below the actual build cost. Now that's not a surprise to most people, right? But it is something that you all should be aware of when you're talking big ships, right? All of these big ships, they were hit at they were hit in April by big industry changes, and what that means is, if you look at their blueprints, they now use these auto integrity preservation seals, the life support backup units, and the core temperature regulator. Those weren't used before, and the build cost of these is actually at current prices 5 billion, right? They are currently still trading at 3.3 billion. With the prices slowly rising. Now, rising prices here is no surprise, because what you would think would happen is these are slowly going to assimilate to the build cost that is actually there. Now, you can assume that the build cost is still going to come down, because that relies a lot on the PI goods that go in, and some of them have not caught up with the added demand from the industry changes in April. But they're certainly not going to come down all the way to 3.3 billion. So you can consider this right now still a good deal, and trading under build. So most of these freighters, I am still investing in them, because I do think that they're going to be climbing a little bit more. It's very similar to that. And then, referring back to my sheet, you can see there are some more units that that have this criteria that I'm saying here, at least 1 billion in the market, and a loss of 30% if you're producing them. All the Navy issue ships, for example, are like that. And so I've picked up the Caracal Navy issue and the Osprey Navy issue for ships that are actually trading below a lot of their build costs. So those are two ships that I'm also investing heavily in right now, because there are good big markets that I think are trading too cheaply right now. The next thing I want to talk about is excavator drones. Excavator drones, huge market. So this is a a multi-billion-isk market. And with excavator drones, what happens is that every few weeks or so, somebody comes in and they either try to manipulate the market, or they need a lot of excavator drones, whatever the case may be. This is basically a case again where somebody came in and bought these out. And so the reason I'm saying this to you is because if you follow my stream, you probably have a stockpile of these around, because I always say buy excavators when they're cheap. And right now is a time again where you just sell them. Right now you definitely need to sell them. And guidance systems, if you were here for the intro of the stream, then you already know guidance systems is a market that will be fucked for years. Excuse my French. This is a market where we recently discovered that somebody is holding about 12 million units and is selling them on the market at very high prices. My sources say that he might bring that price down and maybe even start selling in Jeddah, and that means that 6 months worth of guidance systems are about to hit the markets at lower prices, probably. And that means that you definitely do not want to be holding guidance systems when that happens. Having said that, though, it might be a good opportunity to pick them up, to manufacture with them, or try to make a bulk deal with Poker P, who is holding these items. All right. That's a quick run through today, and a very, very, very short Oz report. Thanks for tuning in, and we're going to go back to the regular streaming.